Okay, it appears to be screen recording. Okay. Okay, so without further ado, go to exercise 1, booklet 3. I'm going to move along fairly quickly. It's boring if I go too slow. We're going to start with the mileage summary in the top. Now, if you're not already in at least 150% view, I recommend you do that. It's pretty hard to work on 100% view because your computers have such high resolution. The cells are actually quite small. Okay, the higher resolution, the smaller things look as far as pixels and that go. So I would go at least 150% so you can see what's going on. I'm going to go to 200% because I'm teaching, so you probably need to see it a little better. Okay, in the top left, mileage summary, we're going to highlight that and just make it bold. Anytime some data looks a little crowded in a column, go up between, whatever column is you need to widen. Put the cursor on the line between, like I'm doing right now, A and B, and drag it a little bit. Now, if you're not sure, you could try it and see where it looks better. Sometimes you make things narrower. Sometimes you make it wider. The goal is to make every sheet that we make look very good and very professional. Now we're going to highlight this group of titles here, and we're going to make those bold and centered. I'll making them a color optional. I'm going to make mine blue. But if you'd like to make them a color. Now, all these options are right there. We've covered them before. Very similar to Microsoft Word. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this information. These titles here are called labels. What labels are is telling us what the data is. If you don't have these labels, you have no idea what these numbers mean right here, right? If there was nothing right there, you'd be like, I have no clue what these numbers are. Is this a hotel room number? I don't know. What is it? So now we know this is a vehicle number. This is about mileage summary. So let's highlight these ones here, the first row, and center it. You just highlight there. I just dragged across, and we click center right there. We're going to do, actually, we should probably do that with the middle one too, which is mileage. Now I might say, what about the last one? That's gallons used. That's kind of optional. I think we could probably leave it here because there's decimals. Okay, because of the decimals, we'll leave that right here. Okay, so we got gallons used, got miles. Now we got to calculate the miles per gallon. Let's click right here. Now to put in a formula, we're going to start with an equal sign. All formulas start with an equal sign. Okay, I think everybody knows that by now. Now what would be the mathematical formula to calculate the miles per gallon? Should be an easy one. It would be, in this case, B7, and then what? Divided by C7. So it would be B7, which is the actual miles you drove, divided, so you do a backslash, and then you do C7, which is the gallons that you used. So if you take the miles that you drove and divide by the gallons used, you're going to get the miles per gallon. Now, if you put your stuff in the same rows and columns that I did, it would be equals B7 divided by C7. If for some reason you're like one row off, that's not a big deal. I'm not mad about it. Just that you're going to have to make sure that this formula goes with these two cells. So if for some reason yours are in row 8 or row 6, then you need to adjust this to that. For me, it's in B7 divided by C7. Question? Well, we're going to get to that in just a second. Okay? So right now, we're just focusing on the formula. And it's a division formula. And then we hit return. Now, once we hit return, we no longer see the formula right there. The only place we see it is up here in the formula bar. Okay? So when you click on it, you see the answer. For this first vehicle, number 501, that's just a number on the vehicle, we're getting 24 miles per gallon. So we took the miles divided by gallons. So if you want to see the formula, you click on there and you see it up here. Now the fill down, because you guys know we don't need to go do this 3 more times like that. We can just do a fill down. There's 2 ways you can do it. I may have showed you both ways before, but I'll show you again right now. You start by clicking the cell that's got the formula in it. Then you drag down to all the cells you want to fill it into. Okay, so in this case, you just drag it like that. Now, what you can do is go up here to edit and go to fill and go down. That's the official way. The unofficial way, which if I haven't shown you, I'll show you right now, is a shortcut. The shortcut is to just click on this bottom corner here where there's a little handle and just literally drag it like that and let go, and it does that automatically. They both do a fill down. One is a shortcut. Okay, Jasmine, Excel, end of story. Okay, you should be doing all this. You should have all this done. You had all block yesterday. A lot of people are done with Booklet 4. So, okay, so that's the miles per gallon. Now, some people would look at that and say, would that look okay centered? I don't care. If you want to leave it on the right, if you think it looks better centered, go for it. Okay, same with this. You want to leave it on the right or go centered, either's okay with me. Now, these here I do want centered. So make sure those are centered. These here are optional. If you want to center them all or center some of them, whatever. So that is the mileage summary. So that was a division formula. Okay, now we're going to go to exercise 2. I'm going to change my view to 200%. You guys go at least 150. I'm going to flip over the page here. Now this one did not tell you where exactly to put things. If you did like I did, or actually this is Trista's I'm borrowing, you started up in A1 and did it from there. And many of you probably did that, and that's fine. That's probably a good thing to do when you're not sure what to do. If for some reason you started in A2 or whatever, not a big deal. Just make sure that when we do some stuff here, you make adjustments as necessary. Okay, so we're going to start with the reception schedule. We'll just make that a simple bold. If you want to add a color to it or make it a little bigger, it's up to you. I think I'm going to do 14 on mine. Actually, make it 14, so it's a little bigger than the other ones here. These 4 here, go ahead and make it centered and bold. Now the color is optional. I'm going to do a color on mine. I'm going to do red. Now what's going on here? Let's stop and think what this sheet is all about. There is a schedule for receptions. There's a place that has wedding receptions. So the first one says wedding party. Now this column here is a little bit tight. So I'm going to widen it a little bit. I think it'll look better. Now sometimes I narrow columns, sometimes I widen them, whatever I think looks better. This was a little tight there with the word title wedding party, so I'm going to spread that out a little bit. Okay, now we got Jameson, Cartwright, Witherspoon, and Castleberry. These are the numbers of guests they got for each. This is the date. These are old dates. It hasn't been updated. And this is whether or not it's catered. Is there any need for a formula here? Probably not. I mean, some people might say maybe you want a total down here, but I don't know if that's really that important because these are 4 separate events. So this is a case where someone decided Excel would be a great spreadsheet to just use for data. In other words, they're just keeping track of things. They're not necessarily having to put a formula in here. That's okay. There's a lot of times use Excel like this. Okay? Let's go on to exercise 3. Exercise 3, I'm going to put in 200% again. Okay, again, it did not say for exercise 3 exactly where to put it. If you did like this one and started up in A1, then it's probably in the same cells and rows that I'm in. If you did a little bit different, just make adjustments as needed. Now up here we got earnings schedule. Let's go ahead and make that bold and 14 point. Okay, let's highlight these titles here and make them bold and centered. And if any are crowded, like here, hours work is a little bit crowded, I'm going to make that slightly wider. Now for the pay rates here, some of you may have done this where you highlight it and click the little $sign up here. And it'll put the $sign way up there. But I prefer not to do that in most cases, so let's change it to the other one if you haven't done it. You can go up here for the shortcut and go to currency, or you can go up here to format to cells. And if you go to format to cells, you click on currency, leave it at 2 decimals, $sign, and this. Now if you do the shortcut here, you probably notice that that's good if everything's set the way you want it, but there's no option there to set it. So in other words, if you don't want to use euros instead of dollars or something, you can't do that on the shortcut. But the shortcut is nice if you're using what it's already set for. Okay? Now the pay rate and the hours worked. Let's go ahead and center these. I think it might look a little nicer. Okay? Now the gross earnings. Now what is gross earnings? Earnings is what you made. Now, if you got earnings schedule, that's what our whole sheet is about. You got employees, you got 4 of them. You got the hours that they worked. You got the pay rate and the gross earnings. Okay, what's the formula going to be for gross earnings? First, start with an equal sign. Then what? Hours worked times pay rate. Which, if you're in the same row I am, it would be B6 times C6. If for some reason yours is slightly different, just make the adjustment. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter if you do it uppercase or lowercase for the letter. B6 times, remember the times is an asterisk. It's above the number 8. You have to hold down the shift key. Okay, so B6 times C6 for me. Again, it doesn't matter if your B and C are upper or lowercase. And if you click that, it should bring it up as $260 for the first person. Is that correct? You guys got the same thing? Now let's go ahead and click here and make it currency. Now because I was clicking in something different, some different stuff. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, I was looking for it there. Okay, I could do that, or I can go up to format and cells and currency. Okay, so we're going to do currency. Now again, we can do our quick, easy fill down with the shortcut. Just click on the little corner here, drag it down for the cells you want to fill it into, and it should do it automatically for all your other ones. Is that easy or what? Okay, Excel is actually pretty easy if you just think through the steps. The most common mistakes with Excel is when people don't think through logically what's going on. Okay, now if you want to see any one of these formulas, you just click in the cell and look up here in the formula bar. That one for that row is B7 times C7. Okay, the next row, it's B8 times C8. The next row, it's B9 times C9. So it adjusted each of these. That looked pretty good? Okay, not too bad. Let's go on to exercise 4. Now you might say, Mr. Rio, this is a weird one. What's going on here? You're going to find out. Okay, what are we going to do here in number 4? Okay, we're going to do something kind of weird. We're going to do a bunch of fills. Okay, here's our goal. Our goal is to put that whole thing of asterisks all the way around this. So this is a good opportunity to try out some fills we normally don't do. Now, even though you can do the shortcut, we're going to do the other way for the first one. Let's click up here in A1, go up here to Edit, and go to Fill and do a right. Whoop, just a minute. Why didn't that give me a right? That's weird. I don't know why it did not give me a right. It didn't give me a down either. That's really weird. Okay, don't know why it did that, but I'm going to do the shortcut. I'm going to click in the corner handle and drag to the right and let go. See what it did? I have no idea why they didn't come up. I've done this 100 times and that. Well, needless to say, we'll do the shortcuts. Okay, say you click in this cell here, which is C1. Now click here and drag down to there. Go one below Monday. Then click in the last cell and see if you can click the handle, which is way over on the right, and see if you can go to the left and go back to. Now click in the bottom one here. Now the handle's down here in the bottom right, but drag it up here and let go. It's just an excuse to do some odd fills. Fill right, fill down, fill left, fill up. Okay, now it should have worked with doing the other way, but whatever weird reason mine didn't come up that way. That's it. Now this here should be centered. If that's not centered, go ahead and center that. But as long as this is centered, and if you do those fills, that's the whole exercise is about fills. Jasmine, what are you doing? Is there a reason you're not doing these? I see your thing. I don't see this.
You should fold it.
Okay.
You should fold it.
Okay. If you want to make these bold, it's up to you. You want to make that bold, it's up to you. Want to make these slightly wider. Now the original one was made for that width, so you're probably not much point to make it too wide. Okay, let's go to exercise 5. Okay, I'm going to do the 200% again. Now if you forgot how to do the merge and center, I'm going to do that with you. Okay, this part's already done, so I'm not going to redo this. So I'm going to use these over here just to demonstrate. I'm going to pretend for some reason I'm doing it over here. It's only because I don't want to ruin the one that's already there. So I'm going to pretend this is the first A1, A2, and I got grade point and averages. Now, if you want to do a merge and center, it's really simple. You start with the cell you started in, which this normally would have been over there. You drag it across whatever cells you want to merge and center. Do I want to do 2 more, 3 more, whatever? Okay, when you get to it, in this case, there's 3 more after the first one, so it's through D. So I get over there, I do that. Then there's over here, there is a merge here. Now, if you pull down this, there are actually 4 different merge options. But the first one is the most commonly used merge and center. Now, because that's the most commonly used, it's also the default. So if you literally just click this button, it will do merge and center. So it merges all those cells and it centers your text. Now we're going to do the same thing right here with averages. I'm going to drag across for the cells I want to merge and center. I got my text already written there. I'm going to go up here. I could pull this down and go to merge and center, or I could just click the button and it'll do the same thing. So that's how I would do a merge and center. Now I only did this here because I wanted to demonstrate to you guys how to do that. It was already done over here. Okay, I'm going to now highlight these here and make it bold. Probably should highlight this and make it bold. I'm going to make this bold and 14 point. So go ahead and make this bold and 14 point. Make these bold. Now we're going to calculate GPA. So this is about grade point averages. We have the name of a number of students there. If your column here is a little tight, drag it out a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of room. These should all be centered in bold. We click here. We're going to start with an equal sign. Every formula starts with an equal sign. Now, what do we do to get the grade point average? Think it through. What? We're going to divide, and what we're going to divide. We're not starting with the hours earned. We're starting with the quality points. So let's do 80, or not 80, excuse me. In my case, it's C7. So if you're in the same row, yours would be a C7. If you're in row 6 or row 8 or something, then adjust it. C7, which is quality points. Then we're going to do a divide, and then we're going to do an hours earned. Now I can just click on this, and it will give me that B7. You got to be careful clicking, because if you're not paying attention, you can start clicking on more and mess up your formula. Okay, now before I'm not going to click anything else until I finish this formula. So I'm going to hit return. I'm going to go up here and click on this so I can see my formula. So we took the quality points and we divided by the hours earned. That gives us a 4-point GPA. Now, as you probably figure, Mr. Rio, can I just fill this down for the rest? Yes, you can. So I just click on the little handle and drag it down. Now, right now our decimals are all out of control. Okay, that doesn't look good. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fix the decimal spaces. How do we do that? You have to have all these highlighted right here. Go up to Format. Go to Cells. Now, we can't do decimals under General. There's no option to set decimals. General just displays whatever you write. We're going to go to the second one down called Numbers. Now, when you go to numbers, that's not currency. There's no dollar sign here. Okay, but you can adjust the decimal places. Now, we're going to do our decimal places at 2, which is the default. Okay, I don't care what negative numbers say, and we don't have anything to worry about thousand separators. So it doesn't matter what these settings are here, but make sure your decimal places are on 2. Then click OK. Now, it did all of that. Now, some of you might say that some of those numbers, Mr. Rio, are technically not like 3.67. It was actually technically like 3.66666. Believe it or not, Excel remembers what this is. So if you came back here a week from now and said, hey, I need to see this and what exactly it is, you could go back up here, go to Cells, and you could go to General, and it'll take you back to whatever the original number was. It remembers what it was. So when it rounds it up or down or whatever, it does remember what the original is. Now I'm going to go back and put that back on where it was, which is number. Now you should have 2, and that looks a lot better. There's no dollars, no currency. I think this would look even better centered, so I'll go ahead and highlight it and center it. Okay, that's our GPA. Okay, we got time for the last one. We're going to click on exercise 6. And this is the last one for booklet 3. Okay, what's going on in exercise 6? First of all, we have our net worth schedule. Let's go ahead and highlight net worth. Make it bold. I'm not going to make this one 14. If you want to make it 14, go for it, but I think it looks fine the way it is. Highlight your year 1 to year 4. Center it and make it bold. If you want to give it a color, go for it. I'm going to give mine a green, something different. Okay, if any of your columns are a little wide or narrow or short or whatever, feel free to adjust them. Your currency should all be in the currency format so that the dollar sign's right up against it. Let's go ahead and center these. I think that would look good. So highlight those, make sure they're centered, make sure they got in the currency. Now we got to do a formula. So let's stop and see what's going on. We're looking at the net worth. Do you guys know what net worth means? Net worth means this. If you were to say, Mr. Rio, how much are you worth? Well, I have to start with, what do I own? I own a condo. I own some stuff. I own a car. Okay, so there's some value to all of that. But I also owe money. I owe money on my condo. I owe money on not my car, but say my credit cards or whatever. So I need to deduct all the money I owe from what I have. And that'll give you some idea of what's left over. So assets is what you own. Now, it doesn't say what these assets are. They could be a house, other things, investments, whatever. Liabilities is what you owe. It could be your credit cards, your mortgages, all that kind of stuff. Car payments. So we're going to click down here for net worth. We're going to start with an equal sign. And what is that formula going to be? Exactly. Assets minus liabilities. Now, we never put the actual numbers into the formula. We put the cell references. So for me right now, it's B5. Okay. Now, if you're in a different row, you have to figure that out. But for me, it's B5 minus, this is a minus formula. And for me, it would be B6. Does that look right? And then if I hit return, my net worth is $7,673.38 for year 1. Okay. Now, if that's not centered like mine isn't, go ahead and highlight that and center it so you're consistent. Okay. So that's the year 1. It's a simple subtraction. Now, we want to do that for all the years here. So you can just click here in the corner of the cell. It's selected. Drag across and let go. And now you've got all of your net worths for each year. So this year you're worth that much. This year not as much. This year even worse. And this year slightly better than the year before. Go ahead and do a save. That is everything from booklet 3. So we now have booklet 3 completed. And I'm going to save my screen recording.